You may not believe it, but today is yet another day on the square. Welcome back in the kitchen. Today we're going to cook up with Xingxi versus Sabazi. This is actually a really nice and interesting match and was pretty close, so we're going to analyze that today. And of course, if you like my content, make sure to hit a like and subscribe button, but you know the deal. Let's get started on that match, shall we? So we have pretty standard openers for both of us. Let's take a look at this map. It's looking pretty equal in terms of the distribution of everything. I mean, there's just a bit more ruins close to me compared to my opponent here, but it's not that big of a deal since they're playing Sabazi. Sabazi's pretty good, especially when compared to Xingxi. And yeah, let's just skip forward a couple of turns so that we can get into the action right away. So pretty slow start here, but what did you expect? It's Xingxi. We get a lot of metals, so we are actually gold diggers today. We're going to really dig this gold and use that to print a lot of giants. That was my immediate thought when I started this match. I was totally and utterly clueless that my opponent was going to be playing Sabazi. But, you know, sometimes you want to get a surprise or something, I don't know. Pretty standard stuff here. We use the lighthouse to upgrade our capital, which means that we can also take the resources and upgrade another city. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. The opponent here is going with the all warrior, a lot of upgrades strategy, so both of us are going for that early giant, which is pretty interesting. We meet them here. What I like about Xingxi is that you usually don't take an explorer early game, and that allows you to, well, upgrade your economy faster. And why don't you take an explorer? Because, well, you can get onto the mountains because you start reclimbing, right? So that allows you to have more vision without taking an explorer. Really save some stars with that. Here they get organization. Nothing too spectacular. We see more upgrades happening over the last couple of turns. And my opponent here at the start of turn 8 is getting onto the water. And we are not planning to do that at all for the foreseeable future because there's not much use to it. There's not that much water in terms of the places that we're going to fight in. So not really making a lot of sense to go for that. Yeah, they take an explorer there. They get some vision. A lot of this part of the land will not be claimed really until the later parts of the game. So if they can get onto the water and start claiming these villages, they are going to be in a good position because they are in a pretty decent lead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cities in that case versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not really winnable from my perspective, so we need to start fighting for this part, and that's possible, but we need to get going on that. So we see more upgrades happening, more useless stuff for now. We start getting giants going, and all of these metals here, all of this gold is going to really help us in doing that. Took a border growth earlier just so that we can get a lot of giants in the city. This one city make that pretty huge. Take an explorer that's going to reveal a lot of the fog surrounding my opponents here, and that's going to allow me to make more informed decisions for the rest of the game. Really nice. Alright, so turn 9 they get their first giant and they start working on this city. They get a city wall because they know if they can basically block me off and start fighting me on this city, they can claim all of this land and it's game over, just like what I said before. But I'm not planning to make them that easy for them. Population growth, they can get a giant there next turn, but you know, we need to get moving as well on our giants and other units. So we get a swordsman here just to be able to fight this warrior here more effectively. That might help for a bit, but yeah, we just get going on more giants. We want giants today. Both of us are pretty light on units at the moment, so a lot of these giants are going to be really effective. And what you might not expect is that riding is not on the menu yet for either of us. And for me, that was pretty logical because, well, riding with Xingxi is pretty slow because there's a lot of forests and a lot of mountains. And riders without roads don't like these. So, yeah. And also, fishing doesn't really make sense for me. So I had to go with the mining route, which is refreshing. Reminds me of Vengir. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this video over here. Let's continue. Yeah, we both have 2 giants now, but we have way more potential in terms of resources. So we should be able to win that over the long term, as long as we don't really mess up. And we get a resource ruin, which is pretty nice. Get hunting, archery, just to be able to fend off all of these units. It is also going towards the forestry and mathematics branch, which we might be able to use. Not really sure how to at the moment, but yeah, they're making aggressive plays. And that is concerning because we can't really unsiege this. We don't have giants close to it, and it was pretty unexpected for me to see that giant landing over there. They get forestry first. They upgrade that city. Yeah, they keep upgrading the cities with some pretty hefty investments, but they are now in the economy lead. What they didn't see coming, however, is the swordsman. And that is one of the nice things about playing Xingxi, is that you can surprise people with swordsmen. People don't usually get swordsmen because they're pretty expensive, and I usually don't like them either, but sometimes, just like with the Vengir game, check it out again, you can really surprise people because, well, they're still pretty strong. Right, we see some sailing coming on. They siege our city. That really sucks. I was trying to find a way to do a Houdini over here. Really couldn't, unless I was going to get roads or something, and even then, not really possible. So that was unfortunate, but we do what they do. It's going to be pretty long term. We get fishing here, and we get forestry before we capture the city. And what we see now is I'm going to do a giant push, and I now have control over this peninsula, and that allows me to get a village lead instead. That's really important for this game. Yeah, I chop a lot of forests just to get this giant out of my city. That allows me to take the lead. It was really the critical point in this game, is I had to break both of these cities out so that I could get an advantage in terms of cities. And if we count the cities now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is really still not that even. But if we look at how many giants are going to come out of these cities, you can see that we are going to get a lead, because we will be able to push through way more units than they are going to be able to. And also, compare the amount of units they train to what we have over here. You can see that somehow, even though they have really been keeping up with the economy, I have more units. And this balance is really difficult to strike, but that means that we are now in the lead. And even though they have way more technologies in terms of navigation and such that are really powerful normally, they don't really make sense on this map. Maybe more for them than for us, but still, I would really consider going riding roads over all of this. So Really interesting. They could also go construction to pump out more giants, then you have just a giant slugfest, but since we have archery, that would be in our favor. So, not really many good choices for them to go. They start attacking my giant with their giant, and this fella is not going to be very happy with that. We get a further swordsman, really unimportant, but yeah, that giant is getting destroyed by our giants. Giants don't like to get attacked by giants. Just saying. And once again, we managed to push out our opponent's unit with another giant. Must be really annoying for them to just see all of their units get pushed out of these cities while they're also getting upgraded. It's a really expensive way to unsiege, but sometimes it's pretty useful. This one we can't really unsiege or push anymore, so we have to let that go. It's a good play on their part. Pretty aggressive, but we achieved what we wanted, which is to, you know, get control of some of these cities. Also, this warrior had been going on this adventure alone since the start of the game, basically. It's really funny. Yeah, we have pretty good control over this city now, and I can't upgrade it anymore, so that's pretty nice, pretty nifty. So we're going to trade these cities for each other. If I'm being honest, my city is probably more important because it is just this central city. This other one, it is pretty cool to have a wall, but yeah, it's not that useful at the moment. At least we do get to kill the giant in a couple of turns. And we get even more giants. We just enabled the giant printer. Yeah, they are going to get sieging this city. Pretty aggressive, but you know, they need to make a move for it. We kill their giant. We unsiege pretty easily. And we get for the ruin. Oh! Just a little intermission here. Did you know that Gully and I, you know, the Gully man, the one and only, we're going to do a game together, but the plot is thickening, because not only Gully will be there, but Polychamps and maybe even Midge One will also be there. It's going to be very, very interesting. So if you are very hyped, just like I am, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, because it is going to be very fun to watch. Let's continue watching this replay here. Go riding here, just to put some pressure on all of these scouts here. And that's going to allow me to, you know, make some good favorable trades in terms of star value. Because scouts are 7-star units, or maybe even 8, and you can kill them with some riders. We see some more upgradings happening, and I slowly start building up this absolute unit of an army. With some giants, with some archers, with some swordsmen, some riders. It's going to be very crowded in here, and my opponent sees that, of course, after we get another giant, because giant printer. They get navigation, they start blasting me with naval units, and that was something that I wasn't really prepared for. I didn't see that coming, which is really stupid, but you know, you get there sometimes. They get another super unit, and yeah, it's really aggressive on their part, but I think you can see where this is going from now, because we have such a huge lead in terms of army. Even though, looking at the cities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 7, versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, technically 7. We have so many more units, and they're also pretty useful units. And I don't know where all of their stars went, because they had, you know, navigation, they fished out some starfish. They did some funky stuff, they upgraded some of their cities, but even their economy is, you know, pretty close to ours. So I don't really see what went wrong in their game here, but they don't really manage to do much with all of their naval superiority. And so we just managed to keep pushing them, and they managed to siege this city, we sieged their city. Even though we are pretty equal in terms of a lot of things, we can just start spamming aggressiveness towards them and they're not going to be able to fend it off. Really interesting strategy to just spam a lot of units, especially when you're going into, you know, bombers, which are usually pretty good at the fighting of that. It was a really interesting game. It was pretty close. Yeah, pretty fun to watch, I'd say. So I also hope you liked watching this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, of course. I've told you many times before, you know what to do. And I will see you in the next video. See ya!